Ryan Blaney just won at New Hampshire, and the guy chasing him down in the closing laps wasn't just any competitor. It was one of his oldest friends. And what Blaney said afterward about racing him gives you a real look at what was going on inside that car. Let's get into it. And hey, real quick, if you are a true NASCAR fan like me, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe to the channel. NASCAR Nation news is just getting started. We are pushing for our next subscriber milestone, and it's all about real talk from fans who live this sport every week. All right, let's get into it. So here's what happened. Sunday at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the laps were winding down and Bubba Wallace had climbed all the way up into second place. He was closing in on Ryan Blaney's number 12 Ford. That's a tough spot for any leader to be in. Tires wearing down, margin for error basically gone, and now somebody fast is coming for you. Blaney talked about that exact moment after the race. He said, "Then I saw Bubba go to second. I knew he was quick. It was a heck of a battle." So right away, you can tell Blaney knew this wasn't going to be an easy close. But here's the thing. Blaney held on. He kept Wallace behind him all the way to the checkered flag. That gave him his third Cup Series win of the 2026 season. And it wasn't just any win either. It was his second win in a row at New Hampshire specifically. Wallace crossed the line right behind him in second. Now, on paper, that's just a solid result for Blaney. Back-to-back wins at the same track. Third win of the year. But what made these particular closing laps stand out wasn't just a position battle. It was who was in that mirror. You see, Blaney and Wallace go back a long way. Like, a really long way. Blaney said it himself. "Bubba and I have been racing with each other since we were like 10 years old, you know? I mean, we've been racing together forever." He went on to say, "Been fortunate to grow up together and remain really good friends over the years, and have families together and things like that." So think about that for a second. These two didn't just meet in the Cup garage. They came up through racing together as kids, and they've stayed close ever since, all the way through to this moment, battling for a Cup Series win at New Hampshire. And that's when things got interesting, because friendship and competition were both fully in play at the same time. Blaney was trying to protect the lead. Wallace was trying to take it from him. Blaney described it like this. "Bubba came on pretty hard there, and I just tried to manage the lap, while also trying to manage the tire and just not make a mistake." Then he summed the whole thing up in 4 words. "What a cool race." Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Because Blaney made a point of separating friendship from trust on the racetrack, these aren't automatically the same thing in nearly 150 miles an hour. He said, "There's only a handful of guys that are at that respect level for me on the racetrack, you know? Whether I grew up with them or just have that. And Bubba is one of those guys I have a ton of respect for." And that respect wasn't just about Wallace's driving. Blaney made that clear too. He said what he can do behind the wheel and just the person that he is and the friend that he is. So it's fun racing with your buddies, but at the end of the day, we are incredibly fierce competitors. That line right there might be the best summary of what actually happened on track. Neither driver was giving anything away. Wallace wanted that win just as much as Blaney did, but because of that long history and that level of respect, each of them knew exactly how hard they could push the other without it turning into something reckless. Blaney put it plainly, "We're gonna race the hell out of each other, but you know that you can trust that person, like we're gonna race really hard, but we're gonna race clean." So let's recap what actually happened here. Ryan Blaney picked up his third Cup Series win of 2026, his second consecutive win at New Hampshire, and he did it by holding off Bubba Wallace, a friend he's been racing against since they were 10 years old. Wallace finished second. Blaney closed it out with this. So it's always fun to race with your friends, especially for the lead. That's pretty fortunate. Two guys who started out as kids racing each other are now doing it at the top level of the sport, fighting for a trophy, and still trusting each other enough to race flat out without crossing the line. So here's my question for you guys. What do you think matters more in a battle like that? The years of history between two drivers or the respect they've built for each other on track? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and as always, if you enjoyed this one, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and join the NASCAR Nation news community. We'll see you in the next one.